Today we'll be replacing the aft transmission mount on a 2012 Mazda 3. Here's the mount. The elastomeric bushing causes the motor mount to kind of slide around a little bit, squeak when you're shifting in low gears. Tools for the job include a wood block, jack stands, some sockets, and a few torque wrenches, as well as a breaker bar. Step 1, make sure that your car is on jack stands. We will be jacking the front of the car to get access to the mount, and then lowering the car on jack stands. Once the car is lowered on jack stands, we're going to use the jack to hold the engine as we remove the mount, just to keep it stable. When we hold the engine, we can't have metal on metal contact, so we're going to use a wood block, like what you see here, to actually hold the transmission part of the engine. And we lower the car on the control arm jacking point. So for this job, there's several safety precautions. First, to get a good jacking point for the G model Mazda 3, you need to remove the underbody cover. Next, we found a flat jacking spot that isn't near the mount to prevent the engine from twisting or moving. So we've applied the jack to that, the board for separation. We've also loosened the 3 larger bolts on the engine side to remove this large piece here. And we want to do that because you can't remove the black piece without removing these aluminum pieces. So we've loosened those, and we're going to take the bolts out. Just before we remove the bolts, we will untorque the 17mm bolts that actually connect to black. So you can see the tail of the bolt sticking out of this in the front, and then the vertical bolt as well. So those come out last. Do not take anything out fully, just loosen everything. You want to do that so that the engine doesn't twist when you're undoing these 3 big bolts. And this is again on the G VIN type. We're going to loosen the 3 engine side bolts. So doing it in this order helps keep the engine rigid as we try to break bolts. We got our 17, and we've broken this one. So we can now remove this. Take it out by hand. And get that bolt. Loosen the next 17mm bolt, which is just directly underneath the mount. So we'll break that and loosen that bolt. There it goes. Finish it off with the 6. Okay, so now that we have the bottom out, everything could shift, right? And then we could just loosen, take this piece out, lay it down, and then pull out our mount. So here's our old mount. It's got 2 pieces that actually do the holding, or the torsional suppression, and 1 piece that's for bumping on the side. This mount has no cracks and is actually in really good condition. So we're not going to replace it. This is mainly for inspection, but if you were to replace it, you just take the same old piece and slide it in. So I'll go through the reinstallation procedure. You're installing a new one, or in my case, reinstalling the old one. You want to install the motor mount first. You want to put the motor mount in loosely. So just to centralize, we're going to put this back bolt in. We're not going to tighten it, really. We're just going to make sure it seats. Now you could use your forefinger to centralize. Know that it's centralized now, so I can put the nut back in. Give it like 2 turns so that it engages. And know that it's being held. Now we want this centered so that it's in between the 2 spars. And then line up the 3 bolt holes loosely. Now you want to make sure loosely that they're all aligned before you start running them down, just so that you don't cross thread any aluminum and you get a good alignment in case the engine is slightly shifted. And you run them down and torque them up. And then just finishing the last little bit by hand on each one, tighten them up, and then we will torque them. And we can finish by buttoning up each of the 10mm nuts and bolts on the splash guard. So 1 here, 1 in the middle, another 1 on the side, 2 on each side in the back. Your middle engine mount on a 2012 Mazda 3. If you like this video or found it helpful, please comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.